One thing I often point out is that political movements and narratives don't stay confined to one country. They can spread and take root elsewhere too. In the UK, there are commentators and voices who closely align with the messaging and style associated with Donald Trump's MAGA movement in the United States. I end this clip. We'll see a UK-based host in a discussion with a caller who strongly supports those views. The exchange highlights how similar arguments and talking points show up across different countries, even when the political context is different as usual. We'll watch the full clip first. I'll save my detailed commentary, thoughts, and perspective for the end, so we can break it down together. Let's get into it.
Raymond is in Malaga. Morning, Raymond. What would you like to say?
Hello, James. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
You're making me laugh. You really are. Like putting the greatest president that ever lived down, yeah?
Raymond, you're making me laugh. Don't tell me that Trump is the greatest president who ever lived.
Well, he is, isn't he? I mean, obviously.
You're pulling my chain, Raymond. There's no way. There's no way. What, more than Abraham Lincoln? More than George Washington?
Yeah, for sure. He would be going down in history as like the greatest president that ever lived. He obviously is. But the thing is, where you're looking at it is, obviously you've got Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, how have I got Trump derangement syndrome? I see the man for who he is.
Most liberals have.
I see the man for who he is. So hang on. From where I'm sitting, to use your words, I'm sitting in the United Kingdom, a country whose armed forces he disrespected a few weeks ago, saying we stood a little back in Iraq and Afghanistan, the same country he is now calling to help out in the Middle East, despite the fact NATO is not an offensive alliance, it's a defensive alliance, an alliance he's previously threatened to leave.
Did he not get involved in Ukraine? So why can't
Barely got involved in Ukraine, and guess who's benefiting the most from this war in Iran? Vladimir Putin, because the oil price is surging, so it's much easier now for Putin to fund his war.
Yeah, but that's just the reason why the oil price is surging. The last time the Straits of Hormuz were attacked, there was a fleet of warships escorting the tankers through. Why haven't they done that this time? In the 80s,
well, 4 weeks ago, Raymond, the Strait of Hormuz was open. Donald Trump is now trying to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. His war has descended to the point where all he's attempting to do is to undo the damage he himself has done.
Yeah, that's fine, but this has happened before. It's happened before, and all the navies of the world came to rescue those tankers. We had a battleship.
Yeah, but we didn't lead to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It's not our problem. Why should we clean up Donald Trump's mess?
Well, it is your problem because, in actual fact...
Well, it's our problem insofar as it's affecting the global economy, but the person who's caused it is Donald Trump.
James, the reality is that Donald Trump didn't care about the Straits of Hormuz because he's got his own oil. You know? The reason why he's not worried about the Straits of Hormuz and the reason why he's asking Europe to come and ferry the ships through is because if those ships don't go through... So
if he doesn't care about the Strait of Hormuz being closed, why is he currently calling for our help in reopening it?
Oh, that's because it's your duty.
Raymond, has it occurred to you? I think you're one of those people who thinks that Donald Trump is some kind of strategic mastermind who is playing 4D chess and is 5 steps ahead of everyone else. Has it occurred to you he might just be an idiot?
James, I know you don't believe that.
I do believe it.
Well,
this is a man who has never read a book.
Okay, James, but they've got the greatest army on the planet ever. Yeah, they've got the greatest strategic people ever.
Yeah, and it's led by one of the world's most incompetent ever world leaders. And because of his incompetence and because of his personality disorder, he's incredibly dangerous.
Obviously, you have to have some propaganda when you're fighting a war, mate. Do you not realise that?
So when he said last year that he had completely obliterated Iran's nukes, was he lying?
Well, I'm not going to answer that one because it's not
because
relevant.
You can't answer it because you know he was lying. When he said this week that he was negotiating with the Iranians but couldn't say who, and they called it fake news, was he lying?
Well, Was the
You can't answer that
Iranian
one. When he said earlier this week that they had agreed to give up their nukes, was he lying?
Stop it, James. Stop it.
Stop what? Stop asking you questions you can't answer?
Well, I can answer the question about the Iran official that's saying that he's negotiating with himself. How come you believe him and you don't believe...
Well, I don't believe the Iranian regime. But sadly, I don't believe the White House now.
You're saying Trump's lying because an Iranian told you that he's negotiating with himself.
Do you accept that he's lying when he said... Okay, here's a basic one, Raymond. Let's try an easy one. Do you accept he's... No, Raymond.
Is that not propaganda? Is that not propaganda talk?
It's not propaganda. Well, it's propaganda talk coming from the White House. Let me ask you a basic question, not about this war. Okay, Raymond? Can we accept this? Was Donald Trump lying when he said he won the 2020 election?
No, he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying.
Well, he won, did he?
I'll tell you what, that election, the 2021 election, it's the same as what we have in the UK here. You've got this, like, sectarian Muslim vote.
Oh, dearie me. I'm going to fade him down. Goodbye, Raymond in Malaga.
This exchange really highlights how certain political viewpoints aren't limited to one country. They can resonate internationally. The caller's arguments closely mirror themes often heard in U.S. political debates, particularly around foreign policy and leadership. One of the key points raised in the discussion is the impact of geopolitical conflict on global energy markets. When tensions rise, especially in regions that are central to oil supply, prices tend to increase due to uncertainty and potential disruptions. Strategic locations like the Strait of Hormuz are particularly important because they are critical routes for global oil shipments, so any instability there can have widespread economic effects. There's also a broader debate about how military strength and leadership are framed in political discussions. Some arguments attribute national strength to individual leaders, while others point out that military capability is built over long periods and across multiple administrations. Another aspect of the conversation involves trust in political messaging. Critics often point to inconsistencies or contradictions in public statements as reasons for skepticism, while supporters may interpret those same statements differently. This divide in perception is a recurring theme in modern political discourse. Ultimately, this clip reflects how global politics, economic concerns, and differing interpretations of leadership all intersect. It also shows how similar narratives can appear in different countries, even when the local context varies.